Hello, my name is Kanija, and today I wanted to discuss the ethical dilemma in the current student loan forgiveness topic that's currently happening today all over the nation. As we all know, President Biden made a proposal for people who currently have student loan debt, the option to have up to $20,000 forgiven from their loans um, under certain qualifications. However, some people have objected to that and filed lawsuits in light of the situation. So I chose this topic because it has a massive financial and psychological impact on students who currently have student loan debt. So this becomes an ethical issue because of that financial hardship that a lot of students have right after graduation. Whether they actually get a job that they can use with their degree or not. Um, so when you consider students' mental health and the financial hardship for them, um, it's ironic because they need the secondary education in order to get a job and do what they're supposed to do in society, but as soon as they're ready to work those jobs, they're in debt right away. So, um, on the other hand, people find this problematic observed through Immanuel Kant, as we mentioned in class, Kantian deontology, which we learned is it means that one will do what they initially sought out to do, and it means doing your moral responsibility. So, people will argue using the Kantian theory, saying that canceling debt seems to violate that moral principle of following through on one's promise, according to an article by Kate Walsh in 2022. So, what about, inclusion and equality are just some questions that people may think about pertaining to the topic. Um, but it's safe to remember that because the tuition prices have risen and will probably continue to rise, the amount of financial aid will also increase along with it. Stakeholders to consider in this case are the businesses and companies that students borrow from, along with taxpayers who pay toward education every year, and of course the borrowers who accumulate all of the student debt as a whole. So while student borrowers possess a stake, another stakeholder worth considering is the large amount of students from low income Black and brown homes. And those students have a disadvantage already because of pre-racial socioeconomic strategies that ultimately resulted in them being unable and less likely able to pay their debts back entirely. And an article by Matthew Silk mentions this by saying the studies have shown that Black and brown Americans face a racial pay gap and will likely owe more debt, meaning that it is more difficult for them to service their debt. Some other facts include that about 43 million people owe $1.6 trillion in federal student loans, and the amount of debt has skyrocketed by over 600% since 2004, following years of rising costs in education. Matthew Silk also mentioned that in an article in 2021. Um, Another thing that he said is that they're reportedly more likely to delay in life, um, as far as their decisions about their debt, concerning their debt, and like having children, getting married, or buying a house. And the people who struggle to pay also experience a significant amount of mental health problems. So the number of students who face financial hardships and mental health problems have skyrocketed since 2004 and will probably continue to skyrocket as long as there isn't any changes or adjustments made to the process of borrowing to have a proper education in this country. So what are the options here? Um, I know we discussed in class the six lenses, the rights lens, justice lens, utilitarian lens, the common good lens, the virtue lens, and the care ethics lens. And I believe here the best way to determine an outcome in this situation is through the common good lens. And that's just because of the large number of borrowers and their place in society today. The best way to service the community as a whole would be to allow their forgiveness to cut them a break as far as their mental health and financial hardships and financial burdens go. It would allow people to um, live without that stress and kind of like a breather or a breath of fresh air and the possibilities of improving things on a mental health aspect for future students to come. So how do we take action? I think the best way here to take action is to give the students the forgiveness if they qualify and if they follow the certain requirements. I believe most students would probably still have a large portion of their payments post graduation anyway. So I do think that it long term, if nothing is done, then long term it will likely result in a continuous increase in student loan debt, and students are more likely to subject to have mental health issues as well. And those are my sources.